The story starts with a prologue set far in the future, where time has replaced paper money as the sole currency. The wealthy, with eons of time, are virtually immortal, while the poor struggle daily for a few more days of life. Humans are born with 26 years to live and stop aging at 25, meaning there are no elderly people. To survive, individuals must work to earn more time, which is displayed on a timer embedded in their forearm. Segregation between rich and poor has skyrocketed, with the powerful constantly increasing the price of basic goods to accumulate more time from the working class. The protagonist, Will, belongs to the struggling population, living in the slums with his 50-year-old mother, who has only 3 days left. Will himself has a mere 24 hours remaining. If he doesn't earn more time today, he will die. His mother, Rachel, plans to work for 2 straight days to pay off their loan. Upon her return, she'll have almost no time left, so she asks Will to meet her at the bus station to lend her some time. On his way to work, Will encounters a little girl named Maya asking for a minute for charity. Will gives her 5. He works at a factory manufacturing time-storing devices. After a hard day, he's paid less than usual. The distributor claims the rich have increased the daily work quota, and Will didn't meet it. Disheartened, Will heads to a bar, where he meets his alcoholic friend, Burrell. Burrell tells him to order as many drinks as he wants because a rich man named Henry is buying for everyone. People say Henry has a century's worth of time on his wrist. Will is confused why someone like Henry would be in a slum bar. He notices known criminals eyeing Henry, presumably to rob him. He tries to warn Henry, but the man refuses to leave. Minutes later, a gang called the Minutemen, led by Fortis, threaten everyone but Henry to leave. Will realizes Henry is about to be robbed. While everyone else flees, Will stays to observe. Fortis orders a minion to attack Henry in the bathroom, but Will barges in, knocks out the minion, and flees with a drunken Henry, who is barely aware of what's happening. The Minutemen pursue them to a point but stop when the two disappear. Henry and Will hide in an abandoned building. Henry reveals he's 105 years old and has had enough of life, no longer wanting to live. This is why he came to the bar, indifferent to death. Will is baffled by the irony. He struggles daily for what Henry has but doesn't want. Henry then reveals there is enough time for everyone in the world, but the greedy rich and powerful hoard it all. Will is shocked and frustrated by this revelation but can do nothing. The following morning, Henry wakes beside a sleeping Will. He donates all his time to Will, leaving himself with just 5 minutes. A while later, Will wakes, shocked to see over a century's worth of time on his wrist. He finds Henry sitting on a nearby bridge. As Henry's time runs out, he smiles and jumps into the river. Will then meets Burrell and tells him everything, giving some of his time to Burrell so he won't struggle as much. With all the time in the world, Will wants to bring equality and eliminate the vast time gap between rich and poor. After Will leaves, Burrell goes to a bar to drink. Rachel, who has been working hard for 2 days, finally pays off her loan and goes to the bus stop, but realizes she doesn't have enough time for the bus. She starts running home to reach Will in time. However, when they finally meet, Rachel falls dead in Will's arms. He cries, mourning his mother's death, which could have been prevented by mere seconds. The next day, the town's police, known as the timekeepers, discover Henry's body in the river. Seeing he ran out of time, they assume he was robbed. Senior timekeeper Raymond and his junior, Jaeger, investigate. Meanwhile, Will buys an extravagant car and designer clothes. He drives to an exclusive neighborhood called New Greenwich across the time zone border. He's mesmerized by its beauty, comparing it to his hometown. When Will had less time, he was used to running everywhere. He does the same in New Greenwich but soon realizes the people there walk slowly. That night, he stays at a lavish hotel and wakes up in an expensive suit. For the first time, he has a gourmet breakfast. After paying, he tips the waitress a week's worth of time. She comments that Will does everything a little too quickly compared to their usual customers. Meanwhile, the timekeepers find footage of Will and Henry together before Henry's death. As they gather more details, Raymond realizes he knows Will's father. Back in New Greenwich, Will enters a casino to gamble for the first time. A billionaire named Philippe, also present, plays against Will. Will wins the first few rounds, but Philippe still has eons of time. After winning a few more rounds, Will's lifetime amounts to over 2 centuries. As the table chats, Philippe discusses the gap between poor and rich, claiming it's natural. An enraged Will bets all his time on the next round, leaving himself with only 30 seconds. The table holds its breath and is left speechless when he wins again, earning a millennium's worth of time. Philippe is impressed and intrigued by Will's personality. He notices Will eyeing his daughter, Sylvia, and introduces her. The billionaire also invites him to a party at his mansion. Will buys a new car and drives to Philippe's mansion. He doesn't know anyone there and wanders around. A while later, Sylvia approaches him and they start a conversation. They dance while talking and Sylvia tells him her life feels meaningless because she has no goals or aspirations. They decide to ditch the party and go to the nearby beach. After swimming, they return to the mansion, surprised to see the timekeepers waiting for Will. Officer Raymond takes Will to a private room, where Will truthfully explains how he acquired over a millennium's worth of time. However, Raymond doesn't believe his story. He confiscates most of Will's time and arrests him. While being taken away, Will skillfully attacks the timekeepers and holds Sylvia hostage. The two get into his car and drive away, pursued by the timekeepers. They manage to escape after hiding under a bridge. In the morning, they get into a car crash on the highway. Fortis and his Minutemen find them at the crash site and steal Sylvia's time, leaving her with only 30 minutes of life. When they wake up, Will lends her a few minutes so they can run to Borel and ask him for a day or two. However, when they arrive, Will is informed of his friend's death, caused by alcohol poisoning. The two then sell Sylvia's earrings at a pawn shop for an extra 2 days. Following that, Will calls Raymond and demands 1,000 years of ransom, to be distributed among everyone in his city in exchange for Sylvia. That night, he and Sylvia stay at his apartment. Will tells her about his recently deceased mother and his father, who used to gamble time and share his earnings with those in need. The two understand each other much better after the chat. It's now the next morning, but Philippe still hasn't kept his end of the deal. Sylvia has always known her father is cruel, but his greed surprises her. Even though Philippe doesn't provide the ransom, Will decides to let Sylvia go. He brings her to a telephone booth and gives her a gun as a farewell gift. They kiss before going their separate ways. Sylvia turns around and calls her father while Will walks the other way. Suddenly, she notices Raymond approaching Will and shoots the timekeeper to save him before running away. Will gives Raymond some of his time to save his life. Following that, the couple takes the police car and drives away. The news makes television and is broadcast everywhere. When asked why she saved Will, Sylvia claims she doesn't want to go back to her boring life. Meanwhile, Philippe is in his office with his partners. They know that if he pays the required ransom, the rich will stop making money because the poor won't need them anymore. Philippe is torn between his daughter's life and his business. He chooses the latter, assuring his partners he won't pay the ransom at any cost. Somewhere else, Will and Sylvia are ready to risk it all to give people what they want. They rob a time-loaning establishment and distribute the time devices among everyone. Meanwhile, Fortis sees a billboard with Will and Sylvia's picture, promising a reward of 10 years if they are captured. That night, the couple is in their hotel room when they are raided by the timekeepers. They manage to escape through the window and get in a chase with Raymond. Amidst a shootout, they board a running bus and escape. At the same time, Fortis finds out where the two are staying and goes to catch them. To give them a fair chance, Fortis challenges Will to a strong-arm match. Victory seems to fall on Fortis's side at first, but Will turns the game around at the last moment. Following that, he attacks the thugs and skillfully kills them all. Then he transfers all of Fortis's time to himself and kills him. Later, Will and Sylvia are on the rooftop, from where they notice the prices of goods go up. It turns out that because of their heist, the rich are raising prices to maintain the gap between the poor and the rich. They realize that a little heist like that won't make a difference, only 1,000,000 years will. The following day, Philippe is going somewhere with his bodyguards. Sylvia distracts them, and Will takes the opportunity to take Philippe hostage. They bring him to his office, where he has a time-storing device with 1,000,000 years in it. When Philippe still tries to invalidate the feelings of the poor and struggling people, Will almost shoots him. He claims that immortality is not worth the life of even a single individual. As the duo leaves with the device, the timekeeper vehicles barricade the highway. A shootout ensues, but the couple emerges unharmed from the chaos. They arrive at the town while still being followed by Raymond. Will gets out of the vehicle and hands the time-storing device to Maya. He asks her to distribute the time to everyone and sends her away. The two get into a car yet again and the chase continues. They are caught when their car crashes in the middle of the road. Before arresting them, Raymond reveals that he worked his way up to escape poverty, but he thinks that the gap between the rich and the poor has to be maintained for society to run smoothly. Unexpectedly, Raymond's time goes up, and he passes away with only some seconds of life left. They run towards Raymond's car and receive time for one more day. In the last scene, people from the town cross the borders to get to New Greenwich, looking for more facilities. Sylvia and Will are in front of a time bank, prepared for their next heist. And that's where the movie ends. Please like and subscribe to support the channel and share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching and see you next time for more fun recaps.